Yep.
Yeah, I was surprised that your boys sat everybody yesterday, but
That was so disappointing, child. I made a video about that.
yeah,
I was sick about it. Um, I just don't like that move because that was supposed to be kind of a statement game.
yeah.
We were supposed to punch them in the mouth and let them know that we're not
Mhm.
bowing down to them or nothing like that.
Right.
So
I was surprised that they sat everybody because the playoff picture wasn't set yet. So kind of what it looked like to me, and I know you don't want to hear this neither, but it kind of looked like they was ducking smoke. What I mean when I say that is if they end up beating the Warriors, and the Warriors drop to that seventh spot,
yeah,
that means that they would have to see the Lakers in round one because they could get that 2 spot.
right.
And it looked like they was kind of ducking that. I'm thinking to myself, that looks a little tricky right there. I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think we were ducking, but
Right.
the fact that it could easily be interpreted that way, it's
Yeah.
just for me. It's like we can't go out like that.
Nah.
And for me too, it's kind of like I feel like it was just kind of disrespectful to the fan base too, because like
Yeah.
we've been like, as you know, we've been missed the playoffs for 16 seasons.
Yeah.
And so for us to be, the fans, we stuck with them, we rock with them, and then the last game of the season again at home, the last home game of the season against the Warriors, and we sit out. Like that's just a bad look.
Yeah, it is. What up, Big Ox?
Chilling. You ready for this show? I'm happy we got this first Saturday show off.
Yeah,
just so y'all know, we are going to be doing Saturday shows at noon Eastern time. And we'll still have the Wednesday show 5 Eastern time. So y'all continue to tap in, continue to show love. We're gonna be here for y'all. So speaking of that, Chill, we just talked about the guys in Sacramento not playing. But we also had Dallas essentially throwing in the towel. And then Kevin Durant doesn't show up to play the Lakers when him and Bron haven't played since what, 18?
I think it's 2018, the last time they've been on the floor together. Yep.
Yeah, how does that come off? Like,
well, the thing about Dallas, I had mixed emotions about your boys, and I had mixed emotions about Dallas. So for Sacramento, I'm thinking, well, you guys could get a higher playoff seed. So why would we sit everybody this late in the season when there's nothing really set in stone yet? So that was the first issue that I had with Sacramento. With Dallas, on the other hand, we was in the Western Conference Championship last year, which means that this year the goals were loftier. So we're thinking that we're trying to get to the NBA championship. That's why they traded for Kyrie Irving. But it went the other way, though. And when it went the other way, I think they something like 11 or 12 games under 500 since Kyrie Irving got on the crew. Not only that, their defense is going the other way. They were only giving up 111 before they got Kyrie Irving. And since they got Kyrie Irving, they're giving up 117 a game. That's the 111 that they were giving up. That was top 5 in the league, Big Ox. The 117 that they're giving up, that's good. And I think that's in the bottom 20. So their defense suffered because they gave up their 2 best perimeter defenders in both Finney Smith and Dinwiddie, right? So the idea with them sitting those guys, well, we're not winning it, which was the goal. And if we do end up getting in the playoffs, we're probably going to get bounced in round 1 anyway. Like, we're not beating Denver with what we have. So what we're going to do is we're going to sign Kyrie Irving, and we're going to bolster this defense. That's the plan coming up this offseason. I can understand that because in certain situations, like, you got to take a step back in order, to get back to where you were. And I think that's what Dallas was doing in this particular situation. But Sac, I was like, oh man, we can move up. You guys can move up in the playoffs and get that number 2 spot. Like, why are we sitting everybody? No.
Yeah, that was. And I mean, the thing about it is that I can't. When we dive deeper into it, I gotta admit it. Like, it really looks like we were ducking because it can't be an injury thing because DeMontis has been playing hurt since October.
Right. That's the beginning of the season.
Yeah. So it's like it can't be that.
Right. Fox was good. The whole crew was good. Everybody was good. It wasn't. And again, Big Ox, I know you're a Sac guy, so I know you're a Sacramento guy, so I don't like to come off like this because I know that Sac shouldn't be interpreted like that. But that's what it looked like on the surface. Like, yo, are you dudes ducking smoke? I mean, don't get me wrong. I know that it's planned to avoid certain teams. Now, like a lot of people say, we duck and smoke. It's plenty of championship teams where matchups are everything. And if we could get this team to bounce this team, or we could beat them, we could definitely beat that team too. So it's kind of tricky, but that's the way to be interpreted, and that's kind of corny. I can get with that.
Well, contrary to popular belief, though, Chill, I do hold us accountable. I'm not gonna pretend like I don't see things when I see them. We've been down long enough. I don't got to lie to myself about an organization.
Right.
But what about KD? Like, what's that all about?
If you look at the Phoenix situation, they locked into the 4 spot, right? Okay. They locked into the 4 spot. There's really nothing else that they could do in order to move up or move down. This game meant more to the Lakers than it did to Phoenix. Now, from a competition standpoint, I would have liked to have seen KD get out there. I would have liked to have seen Book. I would have liked to have seen the crew get out there just to see where we are, right? So to watch that Laker team yesterday, the way that they got off, they started slow. Him and KD not being on the floor for the last 5-6 seasons, it's been disheartening. And the reason why is because it's not been because of them. James has been hurt. KD been in and out of the lineup. So we kind of got robbed of those two guys over the years. But I think that in the future, maybe even in these playoffs, we might see these guys maybe in the second round.
Right. Well, I mean, they're easily two of the top 3 players of our of this generation.
Correct.
And for them to have not played each other for half a decade, I know the fans really wanted to see that.
They did.
The fans definitely want to see that. So that's the reason I look at that. Also, it's just like, coming up playing ball, we had a competitive nature. I call it respecting the hardwood, respecting the blacktop.
Right.
When if you got a chance to go out there and y'all are the two, no disrespect to Steph Curry, we can, people can argue who's the top 3, Kawhi, James Harden, whatever. But if you ask me, Bron and KD are the best 2 players of the generation. So I just look at that like if I'm KD, if I got a chance to stick it to Bron, I got to take that every chance I get.
And I also think it's a situation where the players want to play. I don't think James doesn't want to play against KD, and vice versa. KD is the consummate baller. Right. If you look at anybody in the league, of all the guys that I look in the league that want to play more than anybody, KD is that guy. KD is the guy who reminds me of like a postman. Like if he wasn't in the NBA, he'd probably be playing on the weekend somewhere. Because that's who KD is, right? He does not. He's not just playing because he's good. KD actually loves the game, and I think he loves the competition too. But I think we coming up on a part of his career, and I've said this in the past. We're on the other side of who KD used to be. Same thing with James. So they got to be managed differently. Unfortunately, that's at the detriment of the fans because we want to see them. We still want to see them.
Right. I see people in the comments that they're going back and forth right now about the playing tournament. I don't think I've gotten your take on this. How do you feel about the playing? Do you like it? Do you think we need to scrap it or?
I'm not a fan of the play-in tournament, Big Ox. We already have a play-in tournament. You got 82 games to get into the playoffs. If you can't get into the playoffs after 82 games, you're not a playoff team. So I've never really been a big fan of the play-in tournament. A 10th place team that's 8-9 games under 500 or 4 or 5 games under 500. That's not a playoff team. That is not a playoff team, and I've never really felt like that. But I understand it from a financial aspect that you get more viewership. Not only do you get more viewership, it is good for the league financially. So I can understand that. But from a competitive standpoint, not just from a competitive standpoint, also from a watered down standpoint, you're looking at teams that aren't playoff teams that are getting in the playoffs. So I got a 7th place team in the Lakers who are over 500. And then I have a team in, let's say Dallas ended up making the playoffs and they were under 500. So the whole season we've been busting out, to get to the playoffs. And this Dallas team who's in 10th place, we end up playing them in the play-in tournament, kind of like the NCAA, where this 16 seed that barely made their conference tournament, let alone the NCAA tournament, this 16 seed ends up beating this number 1 seed, or this 15 seed ends up beating this number 2 seed, and they end up knocking out the Lakers, who've been busting their to get into the playoffs. I've always felt like we have a play-in tournament already. We got 82 games. If you can't get in the playoffs by 82 games, you're in the playoff team.
Right. Facts. Y'all make sure y'all like the video. I'm sending the link out. Y'all keep a lookout for that. Click on that link. We're gonna start bringing y'all up soon. Go through a couple of super chats real quick. Jersey Love came through and said, "Shout out my Jersey native OG. Much love from Patterson."
Oh, Patterson is my spot. I got a man I went to college with in Patterson, and I was in Patterson all the time. I love Patterson, no doubt about it.
How close is Patterson to where you from?
Patterson to Jersey City is I can't put it in SAC to go to San Francisco. That's too far. It's more like it's about a half hour.
Okay.
About a half hour. It's
right
not that far.
street.
Yeah, not that far.
Oh, my man Sports PSP tapped in. Chill. Who is more of a coach killer, Trey or Luka?
I don't think either of those guys are coach killers, to be honest with you, because we haven't seen those coaches' careers end. Now, I don't like what happened with Nate McMillan, and I think Nate McMillan is a damn good coach. I just don't think he was the right fit in Atlanta with that crew. I think he's going to be a coach in the NBA real soon, because Luka ended up running off Rick Carlisle, and that's simply because Rick Carlisle got a lot of years on him, right? And he just sees the game different, right? Now, with Jason Kidd, this is going to tell me what kind of player-coach relationship we're looking at. Because if he runs Jason Kidd off, then I got to start looking at Luka differently. And, Luka said, I think it was a couple of days ago, Luka had mentioned that he needs to be better defensively, which is kind of ironic, Big Ox, because his coach was an all-league defender for almost a decade, yet he can't get him to defend. So I'm not sure that either of those guys are coach killers, but I will say that I'm going to find out with this coaching situation between Luka and Jason Kidd where Luka is as a coach killer. I don't think Trey is a coach killer. No, I don't.
No. Okay. Angie Carr tapped in. Thoughts on Trey's performance yesterday?
He went for 20 assists last night. That was pretty impressive, yo. Yeah, he went for 20 assists last night. But here's the thing, though, Angie, and we're gonna get into this when we talk about the playoffs and we talk about these matchups. Trae Young actually looked good yesterday. Trey's always had an ability to distribute and be a good passer. Don't forget, he led the country in passing, right? He led the country in passing at Oklahoma. So he's always been a really good passer, but the crew that he's running with in Atlanta, they put him in spots, and he puts himself in position where he takes a lot of bad shots. And not only does he take a lot of bad shots, he turns the basketball over at a high rate. So he took really good care of the basketball last night, and he hit guys where they were the most effective. Like, he was catching DeJounte Murray a lot in transition. I really dug that. And he was also hitting the big man. So he's really good when he's playing like that. When he's doing extra, that's when he gets himself in trouble. So
yeah,
I thought that was a good performance from him last night.
Yes, it's good to see Trey playing well. When Trey's playing well, it's good it's good basketball.
Yeah,
I'm not a big fan of Trey. Sometimes he has crazy shot selections, but when you got the green light,
Me neither, Ox. To be honest with you, I don't hate Trey.
Yeah,
but I'm not loving him like, I don't know, the other lead guards in the game. Like I don't see him like that. Like I do think that he's one of the better lead guards in the game, but I ain't loving him like I love Dame, right? Or Russell Westbrook or somebody like that. I don't see him like that.
Right. One more super chat. KJ the Don. Appreciate you, KJ. Come on, chill. The play-in makes the games more competitive down the stretch, which compels fans to watch. You got players complaining about 65 games.
And that's their issue. That's the problem that we're having right now. Why are you complaining about 65 games? Okay, to play 82 games is not a big deal because I got the whole offseason. I got the entire offseason to get ready for the next season. Plus, when you're talking about compelling fans to watch, the regular season, contrary to popular belief, does matter. So we're talking about the Golden State Warriors, who if Sac plays, if your boys play their guys yesterday, right? And your boys play their guys yesterday, and they end up beating Sacramento, Golden State is in a pickle because now they have to win tomorrow. Because if they don't win, they lose the tiebreaker with the Lakers. And that can mean the difference between being in the play-in tournament or being the 6th seed. So when you're talking about compelling fans to watch down the stretch, you watch down the stretch anyway. The play-in tournament isn't going to change that. I think that's a ploy.
Right. Well, we about to pull a couple guys up. True Hero and Rob. I see y'all in the lobby. I need y'all to turn your cameras on real quick before I can pull y'all up. You know, I gotta just confirm that who I'm talking to. Okay, let me get y'all up here. Sebastian, what's up, my man?
Hey, Chill. Good afternoon, guys.
What up?
Brian Townsend, what's up, my guy?
Hey, how you doing?
Living.
How you guys doing?
Hey, he already know what time it is when I talk to him. He already know what it is. So,
yeah, you know me, I'm mad quick. I just want to know your playoff predictions. I see Golden State going against Phoenix. I see Sacramento and the Clippers, Lakers and Memphis, and I think OKC might win it and play against Denver in the West. What do you think as far as the West thus far?
That's a perfect transition, Brian. We were just about to get to that. I'm happy that you.
Yeah, we was absolutely just about to get into that. And I was also
going to go into the East as well. I think it's going to be Toronto that's going to beat out Chicago.
I do too.
Miami's going to win and play against Boston. Brooklyn's going to play against Philly, and the Knicks versus Cleveland.
Okay. So
I think the Knicks are going to win.
So chill. We'll do one conference with these guys. And then we'll pull up the next. So you choose chill. What you want to do, East or West?
So the Western Conference with the Clippers going up against Sacramento. Is it Sacramento in the first round?
Suns.
Yeah.
No. So the Clippers and the Suns in the first round, or the Clippers and Sacramento in the first round?
Right now, it's looking like Clips and Suns. And
so the Clips and Suns,
Golden State. Which
I would have much rather have seen Golden State against Phoenix in round one. I would have much rather have seen that, and for obvious reasons. But the Clippers against Sacramento, I think that's a dogfight series. And the reason why I think that's a dogfight series because now it tests both Kawhi Leonard, Paul George will be back, and Russell Westbrook, their ability to defend. Because the last time they saw these dudes, Monk came off the bench and put 40 on them. They got 80 points from their backcourt. So these guys, don't get me wrong, I think that Kawhi Leonard, I don't think he's the defender that he used to be, even though I still think he can defend. I don't think he's the defender that he used to be, but I do think that this Sacramento team is going to push the Clippers. I think that they're going to push them as far as they possibly can. I think it's going further than that. I think it can actually go 7, to be honest with you. The thing that's going to be the difference in this series, not just Zubac rim running, because Zubac rim running could possibly neutralize Sabonis. I think the difference in this series is going to be the backcourt play of Russell Westbrook, right? His ability to take care of the basketball, his ability to continue to get guys involved in the offense, plus Mike Brown. So Russell Westbrook, Mike Brown. Those two guys, I think, are going to be the difference in which one of these teams win this series. I think the Sacramento could possibly beat them in 7.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. That's the same thing I was saying. At least they
now,
past the first round.
Now as far as Phoenix and not Phoenix. I'm sorry. It was Phoenix and
the Clippers.
It was Phoenix and the Clippers, not Phoenix and Golden State.
Phoenix and Clippers, and
Phoenix and Clippers. Now, to be honest with you, I think Phoenix could handle them dudes. I do. I think Phoenix handles them simply because offensively, I just think that they're too much, and I think that they're going to make Russell Westbrook play fast. That's going to make Ty Lue. That's going to test Ty Lue's ability to coach. You got to turn Russ loose. Westbrook. Right, you got to turn Russ loose, but that's definitely gonna test Ty Lue's ability to coach because that game's gonna be fast. DeAndre Ayton rim running, not just DeAndre Ayton rim running, both Chris Paul on the wing and Kevin Durant on, not Chris Paul, Booker on the wing and Kevin Durant on the wing. I still feel like Chris Paul got the easiest job in the NBA. All he's got to do is make open shots and get guys involved. Now, defensively, I think that they could be better. That's why I feel like with the Clippers. Defensively, I think that could be a detriment to them. I think Phoenix could be better, and I think that they could very well handle I think they can handle the Clippers. Now, as far as the Golden State and Sac, you get familiar with teams like Mike Brown. He's familiar with Steve Kerr, but the flip side to that is Steve Kerr is familiar with him, right? So in the process of Steve Kerr being familiar with him, the way you guys play is kind of similar to we play. Y'all play fast, a lot of ball movement, a lot of action off the basketball, but the difference is that Golden State actually plays defense. Now, they play defense better than Sacramento. That's not to say that Sacramento doesn't play defense, because Mike Brown is a defensive coach. They do play defense. I think the Warriors play defense a little bit better, and they move the basketball a little bit better. They keep you on the defense. So I think that the Warriors could win this series in 6 games. I think that could be the difference. Now, as far as Memphis, because I think the Lakers are going to end up with the 7th seed. As far as Memphis and the Lakers, I think the Lakers could beat them dudes. I do. Mm-hmm. I think that the Lakers could beat them dudes. I know that Memphis is young and brash. I think they could beat them dudes, man. I do. And the difference in this series is going to be Anthony Davis. Of all the guys, I think Anthony Davis is the difference in that series.
Steven Adams is still not bad.
Nope.
No. Okay. Yeah.
Still not bad.
Yeah. Still though, Triple J's defense and the way they do the defensive perimeter, it's gonna be tricky. I'm not gonna say the Lakers are gonna lose, but I think it's gonna be at least a game 6 going.
Right. Now when I look at Jaren Jackson defensively, I've said this in the past. His ability to defend, but his ability to stay on the floor is different. Why? Because he picks up dumb fouls. And because he picks up dumb fouls, and them not having Brandon Clark is a big deal, because he was a huge rotation guy for those guys. That was an extra rebounder, that was an extra rim runner that they now do not have. But Jaren Jackson, I'm not really that concerned with him with Anthony Davis if there's no health issue involved, because I just watched Anthony Davis put 35 and 15 on Rudy Gobert, who's one of the best defenders in the game, especially in the post. So I'm not really that concerned with them. I think that the Memphis Grizzlies, they could get outplayed not from an athletic standpoint, but I think from a mental standpoint. When you got Anthony Davis, when you got James, when you got D'Angelo Russell, these vets who've been around for a long time, I think that they could I think they got a psychological edge on Memphis.
Everybody talking about Reeves and Vanderbilt looking good. Yeah, I see what you're saying, but I just think Memphis is going to make it a dogfight if they play against the Lakers, because they got something more to prove now. Because they ain't just talking smack to the Golden State Warriors. They were talking smack. They talking to everybody. So if they're going to make an example, they're going to need to start with the Lakers like, yo, get it in. But like I said, it's going to be competitive, and I want to see it.
Anybody that thinks that the Lakers are walking past Memphis, you don't watch basketball. You don't.
That's what I'm saying.
You do not watch basketball if you think that they walking past them in 5. I'd be very surprised to see the Lakers walk past these dudes in 5-6 games. Right. That would bug me out. I'd be like, wow.
What about Denver, New Orleans? Dude,
I was going to tell you that. Yeah.
I think they serve New Orleans in 5 games. I think they serve them.
Sebastian, you look like you're appalled by that.
I think New Orleans could give Denver a run for their money, honestly. But I'll take Denver in 6 games.
Okay.
The reason why I think they served them is I think they served them because they got a more complete unit. And not only do they have a more complete unit, as good as Brandon Ingram is as a scorer, I think that gets supplemented, or I think that gets canceled out by everything else Denver does. Everything else Denver does will cross out what Brandon Ingram does. The problem that the problem that Phoenix had with New Orleans last year, which surprised everybody. The problem that they had was Phoenix didn't get any significant minutes out of Cameron Payne, which was why Chris Paul had to play as much as he had to play. Because he had to play as much as he had to play, he got worn down, which ended up extending that series. If they could have got some really good backup minutes from Cameron Payne, I think that they served Phoenix. I think that they served New Orleans. Well, that's not the case here with the New Orleans Hornets and Denver. Denver got really good rotation players. Yeah. They got really good rotation players, and they're going to get good minutes from their rotation players. Joker is who he is. MPJ is who he is. Murray is who he is. Those rotation guys, Braun, right? KCP. Those are the guys who are going to be the difference in this series. And I think that with those guys on the floor, I think they handle New Orleans in 5 games. Tops.
So right now we're looking at from our speculation right now, we're looking at a second round that looks like this. Denver versus Phoenix in LA, LA Lakers versus the Golden State Warriors. So where are we going with this? Lakers Warriors first. Where are we going?
Golden State. I got to
round?
go with that. I got to go with the champions from last year, Golden State. They got more to prove than the Lakers. I'm sorry, they do.
They got more. They got more to prove than the Lakers.
Yeah, because if they went back to back, that changes a lot more. Because then now the whole narrative of the Golden State Warriors never went back to back without KD. Oh, all of that gets killed. So it's not just normal things going on in this playoffs. If the Golden State Warriors get to the next round, it shows that they ready, and most likely they probably be going against the Suns. So that's even more.
So what do y'all think about that?
Well, go ahead, Sebastian. You
okay,
straight.
sure. So I went through this, right? I believe if the Nuggets win, it's gonna be the Warriors versus the Nuggets, and then the Lakers versus the Suns.
Mm-hmm.
So
the Warriors. No, because the Lakers are the 7. So
Seven
they got
seed.
the 2. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they would play. They would play the 6, who would be the Warriors. So it would be Lakers Warriors, Denver, Phoenix.
All right.
So even if that's true, I've said this in the past, and I get killed for it. Dre, Clay, and Steph in the lineup since 2014, 2015. They've been in the NBA Finals when they're healthy. So the road to the NBA championship goes through the Bay. And I'm a James guy. Anybody knows me knows I'm a James guy. But if you're trying to win it, you got to go see them boys up in the Bay. You have to. And that crew, the way it's put together, I know how bad they are on the road. I can definitely appreciate that. They have one of the best home records in the league. Not only do they have one of the best home records in the league, they're pretty phenomenal defensively when they're home. Now, when they go on the road, this isn't the regular season, guys. All we got to do is win one time in somebody else's building. That's it. We don't have to continuously win in your building. All we got to do is win one time to shift the momentum. And once we do that, even though I've never really been a big fan of, playing on the road and playing at home, I've always felt like if you're better than me, you should be able to whoop me anyway. It doesn't make a difference where we are, whether we in your building, whether we in my building. If you better, Jordan taught me that. James taught me that. Elijah, all of these dudes taught me. If I'm better than you, I'll beat you anyway. It doesn't make a difference. But with this Warrior team, I think that it's going to matter simply because of their rotation guys. They just seem to play better at home. I don't know what it is, but they just seem to play. They just seem to play better at home. So until somebody drops the Warriors with the crew that they have, with that core, with both Clay, Dre, and Steph, until somebody drops them, they the favorites to me.
I do have to say this, that I think the only team really that can give Anthony Davis problems right here is Memphis. So if they get past Memphis, I don't see Golden State slowing Anthony Davis down at all. I know Draymond is a great defender, but I don't think he's a great defender when he's matched up against Anthony Davis.
Which, by the way, how are they going to cover him? That's the $1 million question. Because if you're going to go Draymond, you can't go Draymond AD one-on-one. He's going to destroy him. That can't happen. Yeah. It can't just be Draymond AD and Ox. We just talked about this yesterday. Anthony Davis doesn't look good in the double team. Depending on where the double team is coming from, especially if it's coming early and often, he doesn't look good in the double team, which is kind of surprising to me because as long as he's been in the league, he's seen double teams. So it's not like what the Clippers did. It's the first time he's ever seen a double team. So is that the formula to beat? Is that the formula to beat the Lakers? Jump Anthony Davis early and often and get the ball out of his hands and make these other guys make shots. I don't actually mind that philosophy. And the reason why I don't mind it is because, Beasley is pretty unproven. Vanderbilt is unproven. Now, D'Angelo Russell, on the other hand, he could be the X factor in this. Him and Austin Reeves both can be the X factor in this. And if they are, I think we're looking at a different series.
So let me get a vote.
Or you can make AD. I was gonna say you get AD more involved, like I told you about with the OKC and the Nets. Yep. Get him more involved. Let him get the other team in foul trouble early. That way he could just dominate on that second tier.
Yeah.
Let me get a vote from y'all three on this second round matchup between the Lakers and the Warriors. Who do we got?
Warriors.
Okay, Brian, you got Warriors. Okay, so Warriors advance to the Western Conference Finals. Yep. Then we're still waiting for Denver and Phoenix. What does that series look like?
To me, it's going to be like the OKC back in the day where OKC was doing that high-paced offense between the way Booker's going to be doing it, the way that I think CP3 is going to get more involved now in the offense, and as well as KD. Like I said, you just love to hate that man's shot. So I think that they're going to be hitting it very hard and offensively. And the Nuggets, I say about 6 games. It's going to be Suns in 6.
The problem I'm having with Denver is that they don't defend consistently, and that's not going to work against a team like Phoenix. You cannot get into not just an up and down with them. You have to be able to slow them down in the half court. At some point, you got to be able to slow them down. And you can't just go bucket for bucket with them. The reason why you can't go bucket for bucket with them, because offensively, we got more than you guys. Offensively, we have more than you. Yeah. We can't just go one-on-one with these guys or go bucket for bucket. At some point, we have to slow these guys down. And Denver has been really inconsistent defensively all season long. One minute they actually look like a really good defensive team, and on the next they look like, what are these dudes doing in the playoffs? So if they're going to run up on a Phoenix team, at some point they have to slow these guys down, and I'm not sure that they can do it. I'm not sure.
Sebastian?
Yeah, I think what Chill said was true. I think the best thing that the Nuggets could do is pressure Chris Paul full court, honestly. But then again, he might just get the ball to Booker or KD. And yeah, it's
either way, I don't think that's still not a bad defensive scheme. If you ask me, if you force CP3 to make Devin Booker run the offense, then I mean that's taking the proclaimed point guard out of the game. So I don't think that's a bad move. So
that's what Milwaukee did. That's what Milwaukee did in the NBA Finals. Right. Now you get the ball back to Chris Paul, and we're starting our offense with the shot clock at 13 seconds. Mm-hmm. We're starting our offense with the shot clock at 14, 13 seconds. And now we kind of got to hurry up. We got to get in our sets, and we got to hurry up. And I thought that Milwaukee did a really good job at speeding up Phoenix. Yeah. In the half court.
So for the chat, just to let y'all know, we do know that the West still has another game. Some teams have 2. So we're just kind of we're assuming that this is going to be the lineup that we got. We're assuming that the Clippers will be the 5 and the Warriors will be the 6. So y'all don't worry about that. This is just our speculation right now. Right. So as of now, can I get that final vote? I don't know if I got it. Y'all do have Phoenix winning that series.
Yep. Yeah. Suns in 6.
If Denver can avoid Phoenix, I think that they're in the NBA Finals. I think they're gonna have a really difficult time with Phoenix offensively. I do.
Okay. So now the Western Conference Finals is Phoenix and Golden State. I think that's what the people want to see anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Honestly. So let's talk about it.
It's simple for me, to be honest with you. The road to the NBA championship goes to the Bay. is that Sebastian? Why are you so? Why? Because this is what separates the whole KD Steph talk. This shuts this down. This separates. Well, I've already proven that I could do what I could do without you. I did it before you. I did it without you. And now, if they end up in the Western Conference Championship and they beat Phoenix, so any speculation or any talk, that's dead now. We're done talking about this. Yep. Because not only did I do it before you showed up, I did it after you showed up, and when you got on the bomb squad, we still served y'all.
Chill. You know the Warriors are my team. It's Kevin Durant.
So we're done. We're done talking. We're done.
That's going to be a hell of a series, and I would love to watch it. You know the
Golden State Game 7.
The storylines in the West are crazy because there's potential for like let's say think about the storyline if this isn't the matchup. Let's say the Warriors do get the 5 seed. Let's say Steph knocks off KD, then proceeds to knock off LeBron James, then proceeds to knock off Jokic, and then goes to the finals and knocks off Giannis or JT or Embiid. You know, that would be crazy. That would just be a crazy finals run. And I'm not gonna lie, I would at that point I would have to stop everything I've been saying, and I would have to put Steph in my top 10.
Somebody got to come out.
Somebody got to go.
Golden State won. Wasn't it like that the first time Golden State won their first championship? People were like, "Oh, they're not gonna make it," and them boys just put that on their back and just ran it and just was like made it look easy. I think they can do it again.
in the 14-15 season when they did win the NBA championship. I mean, who had them winning the NBA championship that year? I know I didn't. To be honest with you,
I did not.
San Antonio might have been favored.
I did not have them winning the NBA championship that year. So for them to march in the way that they did with Curry, even though they had won 67 games that year, no doubt about it, they had a damn good team. They had won 67 games. They started gelling at the right time. I did not have them in the NBA, not just in the NBA championship, but winning the NBA championship that year. So that was surprising to me. But now, as we've gone further, they've now been the favorites. So for them to be in this, for Golden State to be in the Western Conference Championship, like you just said, Big Ox, I'm not picking against them. I'm not.
I can't do it. If they go that far, I just can't do it. At that point, Steph's on the roll. Clay's all the way warmed up, and I don't. I know one thing: the playoffs. I don't bet against Klay Thompson. I don't bet against Steph Curry. I don't do that. So, Sebastian and Brian, we ran through the Western Conference. We're about to bring somebody else up. Unless any of y'all got something quick y'all want to holler at Chill about, y'all got any brackets or anything?
I have one.
You have a good one, though.
All right, Brian. Appreciate
y'all
you.
let Ali check out.
What you got, Sebastian?
I heard you talking about the play-in, right? As a Warriors fan, it was annoying for having them getting eliminated in the 2021 postseason. I don't know. I just feel like it's good for the teams that suffer a lot of injuries throughout the season, and it gives them a chance to get into the playoffs. And if you're the better team, I feel like regardless of what your record is, you'll pull it out and go to the playoffs.
Right. I just feel like we already got a play-in tournament, 82 games. If you can't get in the playoffs by 82 games, you're not a playoff team. The idea that teams have been injured, that's part of the game. Unfortunately, that is part of the game. It happened in 2021. It happened in 1989. Throughout the years, teams have gotten hurt. That's why being good isn't good enough. You need some things to go your way, and injuries are part of that. Now, I can't fault you if I broke. You can't fault this guy if this guy broke down. That's a you problem. That's not a me problem. And I don't want to expand the playoffs in the effort that you might get hurt. Take care of yourself. Take better care of your body.
So you think it's more of a punishment for the 7-8 than a...
It is.
Okay.
Because we've worked all season long to get here, right? We worked all season long to get here. Just 2 weeks ago, Minnesota was a half a game out the 5 spot. Out the 5 spot. Now we're looking at Minnesota as a play-in team. So that's what the battle is. So you got 5-8, 8-9, 9-10. You guys, I got 8 spots. By the time we get to the end of the 82-game season, if you guys haven't made it into these 8 spots, you're not a playoff team.
I get you. Thank you so much, guys.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you for tapping in, bro.
Yes, sir. What up?
What's going on, y'all?
What's up, y'all? How y'all doing?
Good. Chilling. All right, so I had a quick question before y'all get listen everything, if that's cool with y'all.
Yeah, go ahead, man. What you got?
All right, so my question is, like, with Victor coming in and with Zion coming in a few years ago, the narrative is that these generational talents can't stay healthy either due to Victor's height and him being too skinny or Zion's size and being too heavy. But as quiet as it's kept, things and players like Scoot and Ja, these hyper athletic point guards, don't get to play out their full careers and be healthy as much as they rely too much on their athleticism, and they don't develop other parts of their game so that they can evolve. So my question is, with these teams drafting these franchise players, do y'all think they should get vets that not only teach them how to be pros and teach them about the NBA, but can help them evolve their game? Like an example would be, this could go get D Rose, somebody that's been through Ja's path and has evolved his game, a 15-year pro. Do y'all think that would be something that these bottom teams should do as far as going to get these vets to help actually build their franchise players? Because as good as coaching is, there's something about the man you practice once being able to do what you do at a high level and then still playing the game at a high level, and you get to pick his brain and see how you can better yours.
Well, that 2-part question. Number one, it's not just the vets. The vets are a part of it. They actually have that in NBA organizations. It's called the player personnel development. So it's your job to turn me into a pro. I got pro potential when I show up. I'm not a pro. So it's your job to turn me into a pro. But to expand on that, coaching is even more important. And the reason why I say that is because as a coach, you recognize your player and not just what he's good at, what he's going to be able to thrive at over the years. A prime example would be Bob McAdoo when he was on the Miami Heat staff. When he was on the Miami Heat staff, he made it clear to Dwayne Wade, because Dwayne Wade was not just a high-octane offensive player. Dwayne Wade got knocked to the floor a lot. Bob McAdoo told him, you are not going to hold up if you keep playing like this. So you got to change your game. That's where coaching comes in. Well, I got to get my mid-range game in. So Dwayne Wade started working a lot with Eric Spoelstra on his mid-range game. He started working on his stop and pop. Don't get me wrong. When you talk about AC Green, Udonis Haslem, Horace Grant, you need those vets to teach me how to be a pro. But in terms of my overall game, I need a coach who's been around that's going to help me not just develop my game to a point where I'm going to be able to stick around for a long time.
Yeah. I think that's what Ja's missing in his game is Ja, like you said, with D Wade, he goes to the floor too much. And as far as him in the half court, he doesn't really have something to rely on other than him getting all the way to the rim and just challenging the big over and over and over again, which is, I think, too much toll on his body because he's not as big or built as a D Rose or as a Westbrook. So I think he's more liable to get nagging injuries, not just the explosive injuries that go to your knees, but like AI did with, he got the elbow, he got the shoulder here, he got the back one day, he got his calf one day, because I just think it's too much pressure on your body to just play that go style. So I think he needs that's why I said D Rose, because D Rose in New York is relying more on the float range. He slowed down his pace. He's got a smoother jumper now. So that's why I say like getting not only a player's coach that can help him develop, but getting a vet that's close to transition out of the league that could help him transition his game in that fashion.
Fair. Yep.
Yeah. True Hero, Rob. What's up, y'all?
What's up? I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead, fam.
What do you guys consider a successful season for the Lakers?
A successful season for the Lakers? I think they're a semifinals team at best. I said that before the season started. I had them at the 6th spot before the season started, and I think that they're a semifinals team. This team is going to go as far as Anthony Davis takes them. However, if he could stay healthy, James stays healthy. The last time these two dudes were healthy, they won the NBA championship. So we're going to see how far these two can go. But I think a successful season for them is winning the NBA championship. That's a successful season.
All right, Chill, I wanted to, because you talked about the Lakers and Warriors matching up earlier, and it got me to thinking about how they would guard Anthony Davis, who is the Lakers' focal point on offense and is the guy that they run the offense through. So I want to know what you think about this, because I was thinking, so Draymond isn't the best as a one-on-one defender, so I don't want him as the primary on AD. So what I'm thinking is I put Wiggins, who's coming back, I put Wiggins on LeBron because he's their best screen navigator, and LeBron is the primary ball handler of the offense. And I would put Looney on AD, not saying that Looney in any world can check AD one-on-one, but it allows Draymond to keep being himself and him at his best, which is him coming and doubling early, coming and trapping early, making communications for the rest of the guys, and being able to run the defense that way. And I think if they can do that at an effective level, I think the Warriors will blow the Lakers out the water. Because on the offensive end, the perimeter defense for the Lakers, Steph and Clay are running through that like sandpaper. It ain't gonna hold up.
I don't think that the perimeter defense, even if it was elite, the fact that how the Warriors move the basketball and how they keep the defense off balance, they do that with anybody, right? So I don't think that that's even an issue when it comes to the Lakers, because they would do that with Phoenix, they would do that with Sacramento, they would do that with the Clippers, they would do that with any team in the Western Conference. I think the difference here is getting the ball out of Anthony Davis's hands and keeping him off balance on the regular. That's where guys like D'Angelo Russell, who are going to be able to, if he can knock down shots, if Beasley can knock down shots, now that has to keep guys like Draymond Green honest. He can't double as quickly and as often, because what I'm going to have to do is, if I leave D'Angelo Russell, if I leave Austin Reeves, if I leave Beasley, if I leave these guys and they're consistently knocking down shots, is that a shot that I'm going to just be able to live with, as opposed to leaving Anthony Davis one-on-one with Looney? I'm not going to leave him one-on-one with Looney, but what would I rather? Would I rather D'Angelo Russell knock down shots? Would I rather Beasley knock down shots? Well, I think I'd rather that. I'll take my chances with that as opposed to Anthony Davis one-on-one with Looney. If I can get the ball out of his hands, I can completely throw him off balance offensively. Plus, when we get into the meat and potatoes of the game, he hasn't really been that much of a focal point in the offense because we've gotten the ball out of his hands, which means his rhythm is off. So that wouldn't be a bad idea. And
I think with the Lakers offense being throw the ball down to AD and let him work, the pieces, the perimeter pieces surrounding him that you mentioned, Beasley, Reeves, and Russell, we see that they are rhythm players because you see that they play at their best when they get to constantly feel the ball, get to have the ball in their hands, which unfortunately when LeBron is out the lineup, people like D'Lo, people like Reeves have their best games when they get to keep being in a rhythm. So with LeBron and AD being the two main guys that have the ball the most, I don't think that they'll be in rhythm. So when AD, one, gets doubled, he has to make the pass. And two, I think it'll be more difficult for those rhythm players to be able to just catch and knock down shots as if they were a Kenny Smith for Hakeem and the Rockets.
Plus, this is also going to be key too when it comes to Darvin Ham and coaching, because what they also do with Anthony Davis when they throw the ball into the post, there's a lot of action, there's a lot of non-action, a lot of watching. Yeah. Right. So that's not going to work with a team like Golden State. So when you double quick and you double often, if you're just going to sit around and watch, what you're going to do is you're going to exploit that team offensively. So they got to get some action off the basketball in order to keep Golden State on the defense. Because if they don't, then they're basically sitting ducks.
Yeah, and that'll lead to them, the Warriors, getting out in transition more. Because Draymond and the guys that are around them, because as soon as the Lakers are just sitting there, triple, as soon as he throws that pass, they're gone and they're out in transition. And that gets them in rhythm more than anything. So that'll just open up the game for the Warriors and they'll just blow the doors off. Yes, so I'm genuinely, as far as the Lakers ceiling, the Lakers, any team in a series, to me, other than the Warriors, because I feel like if they see the Warriors have so much experience and have played LeBron so much, and quiet as kept, AD before the playoffs, the team that he was losing to was the Warriors. So they have experience with dealing with these two players specifically. So I don't think the Warriors are fazed by the Lakers at all.
All right. You're going to find out. No.
Joe, true hero, you got anything? Because, I mean, you up here, bro. I got to send you out when I see these.
I ain't want to cut no one off like
right on.
Points off. I had a more different approach to the playoffs. I was saying the Pelicans and Nuggets. I think the Timberwolves beat the Thunder, and I think the Timberwolves beat the Pelicans. Was lead the Nuggets and the Timberwolves. And if you ask me, I think the Timberwolves could beat them, man. I think the Timberwolves could beat the Nuggets. Chill. What you think about that?
That Minnesota can beat the Nuggets.
Yep.
I think it'll be a competitive series. The problem that I'm having, and you dudes are gonna kill me with this, Cat gives me Chris Webber vibes. What I mean when I say that is he gives me when the lights get brighter, brighter. Oh man, when the lights get
combined
brighter,
with Gobert, that ain't going.
Chill, Jordan. I got to say this. I get what you're saying. But I don't think Cat's even at that level, honestly.
Not as far as talent.
No. I want to make sure I'm clear, Big Ox.
Chris Webber is a better player than Cat.
This is Chris Webber. This is Cat. So I'm not saying that they like this.
It ain't close.
No, I'm not saying. No, this is Chris Webber. This is Cat. But what I'm saying is when we get to the higher bets, when we get to the blackjack table. So now we're at the $10 blackjack table, which is the regular season. When we move up to the $150, $10,000 blackjack table, this dude goes from here to here. And I'm thinking, what is the problem? Because this thing on paper with him and Rudy looks like it should work. And the reason why I say that is because Cat played the 4 in college. So that's his natural position, playing with Rudy. His ability to stretch the defense, right? His ability to drag those big men away from the basket. It just looks, it not just looks slow. It looks not necessarily effortless. It just looks like he's not prepared for what's coming. And he looks like a deer in headlights.
He looks lost.
That really bothers me, especially his ability to defend at the 4. He looks like he's completely out of it. Like he doesn't know how to defend on a pick and roll or the pick and pop. He doesn't know how to communicate in that situation. And when the playoffs start, he looks lackluster. He looks uninterested. And that kind of reminds me of how Webb was, where he kind of looks lost. Am I prepared for this? Am I not prepared for this? It's not a talent thing. It is not a talent thing. The thing that I worry about with Minnesota, from a talent standpoint, they look awesome. I don't think that they could beat Denver. No.
And the playoffs is so hard to talk about. Just like 2 shows ago, yesterday, Ticket was talking about the Mavs could beat the Nuggets. Now they're eliminated. So it's so hard to talk about it. And Arch, you were saying the Clippers will face the Suns. The Clippers got a back-to-back. So this got to go one week. They play the Blazers and they play the Suns today and tomorrow. They play the Suns tomorrow, the Blazers today. If they win both, then they might play the Suns. If they lose both, then they play the Kings. It could just change so
just like
quick.
That.
Yeah,
that's why we had to speculate a little earlier, because we know.
But I think so y'all think the
crucial.
Pelicans beat the Timberwolves in the play-in tournament? Because I think they easily beat the Thunder.
I think Brandon Ingram cooks Minnesota's defense, honestly. And as much as I love Anthony Edwards, I think the Pelicans got too much with B.I. I think CJ is going to have a big game.
Zion's not playing.
I know Zion's not playing. I ain't mentioned his name. I think the Pelicans have beat the Timberwolves without him, honestly.
That's a
Chill, you agree with that, Joe?
With New Orleans beating Minnesota?
No Zion.
With no Zion? No, I don't. And the reason why I don't is I think that in terms of Minnesota just outlasting them, don't get me wrong, I think that Minnesota, they could very well, what's the word I'm looking for? I think they could survive Cat for one game. Now, we talk about a playoff series. I think that if Cat was solid enough, right? I think if Cat was solid enough against a New Orleans team, I think that they could handle New Orleans. Because New Orleans, their front line with Valanciunas, Murphy is going to stretch. Trey Murphy is going to stretch the defense. Brandon Ingram is buckets. I can get with that. But that other unit, so we're talking about Mike Conley as a lead guard. They don't have that kind of structure in New Orleans. A dude that's going to take control of the game like Mike Conley, get other guys involved. And then you got a guy like Jaden McDaniels who can slow Brandon Ingram down for stretches. Now, slow him down for the entire game. Now, we're talking about something completely different. But to slow him down for stretches, I think he could do that, right? So if Cat could just give you enough to be solid, I think that they could handle New Orleans.
I forgot about Jaden McDaniels when I made my take. I might have to flip sides because Jaden McDaniels might be the best player in the game right now.
He might be.
The last time he played Brandon Ingram, I think shot 5 for 18. So I might have to switch that take because I forgot about McDaniels. So
and it's just and remember too, it's just for one game. This ain't the whole playoff series. Just one game. That's it.
One game.
If it's just one game, I think they can handle New Orleans in one game.
But Joe, the reason I have the Timberwolves being the Nuggets, I ain't say it was because I think that defense gonna separate it. I think Jokic will do him against Rudy because I don't know, for a good defender like Rudy, he constantly gets cooked by the best big man in the league. So I think Jokic will do him, but I think the defensive part is where I'm on with it. I think Ant will outplay.
Wait a minute, True. If you want a defensive part, but meanwhile their best player is cooking their best defender in the post, that logic doesn't work. And the reason why that logic doesn't work is because not only is he their best offensive player, he gets everybody else involved. So if he's cooking in terms of scoring, he's also cooking in every other aspect. He's getting Murray involved in the offense. He's getting MPJ involved in the offense. He's getting KCP involved in the offense. And add all of that up to the fact that they defend the way that they defend in stretches. They might be an inconsistent defensive team, but the way that they defend in stretches could be enough to beat Minnesota.
They got two potential elite defenders, and McDaniels and Ant, which I was on with it. I get what you're saying with the post scoring and what defense Rudy does there, but I think the perimeter is what I'm on with it with McDaniels and Ant.
The problem with Ant is Ant defends. 1 minute Ant looked like a first team all league defender. The second he looked like nobody ever taught him defense. And I'm watching him going, my man, there's 1 minute you look like this, and then the next minute you look like this. That's where the
inconsistent. You just get gone. Yeah. It's
right.
gone.
That's where the inconsistent. And what it also does too is it affects his offense. Where he could, where there's times where not only is he lost defensively, he gets completely taken out of the game offensively. Which, if you're going to have stuff like that, especially in a playoff series, you could get smoked in 4 or 5 games.
But this is what I'm going to tell you. We will see that. We will see that playoff matchup. This is not what if it happened. We will see the Timberwolves versus Nuggets.
I'm excited. I'm excited to see that. Honestly, I think that. I think the Timberwolves could give them a good run.
I don't know if they beat the Thunder.
Yeah, we'll see. But fellas, I appreciate y'all for stopping by. Y'all stay.
They're not beating the Thunder.
Check out the rest of the show.
Hold on, my man right up under me. What about him?
I have another question.
Yeah, for sure.
What's up, Rob?
Do you guys believe that the Boston Celtics can be upset by the Miami Heat?
Yep.
I think it'll be a dogfight. I think that it could be a 6-7 game dogfight. The difference in that series, it's not going to be buckets. It's not going to be Bam. It's not going to be any of those dudes. The difference in that series is going to be Tyler Hero and Strus. Those are the guys that are going to be the difference because they didn't get much production from those guys. Strus had a playoff stretch last year where he didn't make a shot in 2 games. You can't have your best small forward. You can't have a starter going 0-for in 2 or 3 games. That's not going to work. Same thing with Tyler Hero. Tyler Hero, he came up playing. So if those guys can play to their ability, especially in the Miami Heat rotation, I think they got a shot against Boston. I don't think that they could beat Boston, but I think it's a 6-7 game dogfight.
And Rob, definitely stick around because we're about to get into the East. So
yes, we are.
Stick around. Make sure you stay tapped in, bro. You'll hear all ChillTown's takes on the East coming up next, man.
Yep,
appreciate it.
Right on. Appreciate you stopping by, bro.
My man.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, let me see. We got one more super chat. Let me get through it. Don't forget, chat. Y'all run the end of the show, so y'all get in here with the super chats, get with the chats, ask y'all questions, let us know what y'all want to talk about. Assad Muhammad, AD has averaged 29 and 20 versus the Grizzlies this year.
Are you sure about that? Are you sure that he averaged 20? Are you sure he averaged 20 rebounds against them? 20? Has he played enough to average 20 boards against the Memphis Grizzlies? And don't get me wrong. Going up against Jaren Jackson, going up against the Memphis Grizzlies front line, I give the edge to Anthony Davis simply because he's better than Jaren Jackson. No question about that. Is he going to hold up? That's the $1 million question. Is he going to hold up? That's the $1 million question for me.
Assad, just to let you know, when I was saying that, I'm not saying the Grizzlies will stop AD. I was just saying that they're probably best equipped to do it. If Steven Adams can come back, and I kind of blanked out for a second and forgot Brandon Clark was hurt. But if he's averaging 29 and 20, I would indeed stop it. I would definitely stop it. We do not shut this down. Yeah, we do not.
We're talking about almost 30 and 20. If we got a dude averaging almost 30 and 20, we going to him every trip. Okay. We ain't doing nothing until he touched the ball. Nothing.
Assad tap back in and said, "Yep, it's on Stat Muse
this year." All right.
Hey, well, if you say so, man, I mean, I'll text Mars and Love. They'll definitely know. Yeah. Hey, y'all tell us in the chat how y'all feel about the Saturday morning show. Let us know. Give us some feedback on that. Let's get into the East. I'm gonna bring up Nigel and PSP to help us with this. I know they got some knowledge for us.
What's up, Bobby? What's up, Chill?
What up?
How y'all doing?
Good, man. How about y'all?
Doing good.
PSP, what's up?
What's up, fellas?
Chilling, man.
What's going on? What's on your mind?
I mean, we talking about the East. I'm a Sixers fan, so I'm good. Right. I'm ready to watch the playoffs, man. I'm ready to see what we do.
Well, let's get into it. Since we do know the matchups, Chill, I mean, we can even do the play-in tournament to start with. So we could start with Miami and Atlanta in that 7-8 seed for the play-in.
Right. So how do you see that going? I still got Miami. I got Miami. I like Atlanta. I like what Trey did the other night, but I just think Atlanta too much dysfunctionality. Miami, after what I saw from them the other night against Philly, if they can play with that type of swag, that type of energy, I don't know if any team wants to seed them, especially a top seed. That's just
well, I think we're all in agreement that Miami gets that one. 9 and 10 is Toronto, Chicago.
Well, they've beaten Chicago. They've beaten Chicago 2 of the 3 times that they played them. So
I don't know. Though. I kind of like Chicago. Chicago's kind of been cooked since the All-Star break. They've been like one of the 5 best teams in the league since they got back from the break. I kind of like that's going to be tough because they have to go to Toronto. But I might pick the Bulls. Man. They've looked legit at least in the last month or so.
So I'm gonna rewind back to the Miami Atlanta series. So this series is coming down to one thing and one thing only, and that's Trae Young. Trae Young averages almost 6 turnovers a game against the Miami Heat. This is your primary ball handler who can't take care of the basketball against this team and this team in particular. Okongwu, I think he's one of the best rotation players in the game, and I think he's going to give them some really good minutes. Miami does a really good job chasing Trae Young off the pick and roll, not just chasing him off the pick and roll, putting him in the short corner and forcing him into turnovers, kind of like what Dallas did last year with Book. And Trae Young is not very good when he's dealing with length and athleticism. When he's dealing with length and athleticism in the double team in the short corner, you put him in a really precarious situation where he turns the basketball over a lot. I think he's going to be the difference in this series, and I think that's why Miami handles them.
I agree with like the length and athleticism.
Also, his field goal percentage is like 35.6% from the field.
Garbage.
Garbage. From 20.8%.
I mean, y'all remember last year that first round matchup? How they had him? Yeah, they were.
He averaged 6 turnovers a game against them last year, not including this season, because this season he averaged 5 turnovers. And P.S. You and I have had conversations about Trae Young in the Miami Heat. You know how I feel about them, yes. and how bad he is in terms of his shot selection and how he takes himself and the rest of his crew out of the offense when he's taking bad shots, particularly against the Miami Heat. It's almost like it's a turnover when he's coming up pulling from the logo, or when he's shooting from long distance in transition when they have easy buckets underneath. So I think the Miami Heat handled them.
I don't know if y'all saw last night's game because they played the Sixers, right? And they were tied with like 20 seconds left. I think Trae Young, he dribbled the ball out for like 20 seconds. They ended up getting a shot clock violation because he didn't get his shot off in time. We ended up going to overtime and winning. So that it's funny you brought that up, ChillTown, because I literally just saw it last night.
Yeah. He'll do that. He will.
Our G League team.
Yes, he'll do that. He will absolutely do that. So,
which is why eventually I see Trae Young and John Collins after this season, they should part ways. But
yeah, John Collins should have been gone, honestly.
Yeah.
I'm surprised.
But if you look at that Atlanta team, how long have we been talking about John Collins getting traded? I think we're on year 2 now. I mean, that starts affecting my game. Like, is he with us or is he not with us? 1 minute you sign him to an extension, and then immediately after that, he's on the trade block. So how do you expect this dude to perform when you're giving him mixed signals? We want him here, but then we don't want him here. Where he's not a good fit, but we're extending him. We're going to give him his money. That's kind of it's a different situation in Atlanta. So I don't know exactly what they're doing there.
I think it also hurts that his hand's been messed up. You know, how he had that big swollen finger, and since then, like, he just lost his ability to shoot. Like, he can't shoot at all. He used to be a pretty good shooter for like a power forward center,
and a good transition player too.
Atlanta's like treating John Collins like Atlanta's the chick that stops texting at 7 p.m. and then message you in the morning like, "Good morning," like I fell asleep. You know. Giving those mixed signals, I got to get it together.
And by the way, we just hung out the night before that till like 2 o'clock in the morning.
Had a great time. It was
so dope. And then I don't hear from you for 2 days. What's going on, yo?
And then you expect it to be normal, right?
Right. Hey, how you doing? I ain't talked to you in 2 days. What are you talking about?
Chill. Let me ask you this question, bro. You still have Giannis as your MVP, or?
Well, I had him as the MVP before the season started. We had that conversation. I had him as the league MVP before the season started. And what Joker was doing, I felt like Joker had pushed himself ahead of the field, considering what he was doing. But then when he had that stretch where he missed 3 games and then he came back and they got blown out by Houston, then I think that Embiid and Giannis kind of separated themselves from him. So I'm still sticking with Giannis. As good as Embiid is, I'm still sticking with Giannis.
I got Embiid by here. And the reason why I had Embiid, because in the month of March, he had 9 consecutive games of 30 or more points. Right. And I think this game against the Celtics, albeit without Jaylen Brown and Robert Williams, that was the nail in the coffin for me. And plus, when you look at Milwaukee and Denver's records without those 2 stars, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
So imagine you take the Sixers without Embiid. You're going to have to ask an awful lot from James Harden at this juncture in his career. Plus, Tyrese Maxey's also missed some games here and there this season. So imagine how the Sixers would be without Embiid, though.
Sure, and I could counter that, and that's why I had Joker, because I counter that with considering Embiid having, even though Maxey was in and out of the lineup, right? Even though PJ Tucker was in and out. With that being said, he still was playing with a 20 and 10 guy, a guy who's leading the league in assists. So because he was doing that, that took a lot of pressure off him. Joker, on the other hand, no all-league performers, no all-NBA performers, no all-league defenders, no all-stars.
Right.
Still averaging almost a triple-double, and his team's at the top of the Western Conference solely and primarily because of him. Now, again, we're not talking about the better player. I think Embiid is a better player, but we're talking about the guy who's the most valuable to his team's success. And I'm glad you brought that up because Ox was gonna move into like Philadelphia in the Nets.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, first we got to finish the play-in. We got to see Toronto, Chicago.
Oh, that's right. We still got to finish the play-in.
I will say this: Philly is lucky that Miami is not 6 seed because if Miami were the 6 seed, it's going to be problems for Philly.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, well, let's see what did y'all say who y'all got? Toronto, Chicago.
You like that? You like that Chicago team over Toronto? I think the problem with Chicago has been all season long, and we don't talk about it nearly enough. I think Chicago is a top 5 seed with Lonzo Ball in the lineup. That primary ball handler that they don't have is now gone. Kobe White is not that guy. I think he's a consummate backup. And I think he could be good at that, no question about that. But that primary ball handling, Lonzo Ball, that they had takes DeRozan off the basketball and lets him play on the wing where he's more effective. Same thing with Zach LaVine, takes him off the basketball, lets him get out and transition a little bit more, and makes him even more effective. Andre Drummond has been a disappointment to me. I thought Andre Drummond would be a lot better than what he is. But the problem that we're having is that he's in and out of the lineup. He's inconsistent. I just don't see them beating Toronto.
He's regressed. Look at Go ahead.
So no, I was gonna say I feel the same way, but I was just coming to you, PSP. I need your vote on this because you're the tiebreaker right now between Toronto and Chicago.
Look, I would love to say Chicago. I'll probably lean towards Chicago, but I must admit that night when they beat Dallas, man, look, that was because Dallas quit. Let's just be honest. They quit. They gave up the season. Chicago, we would be a lot better if Lonzo Ball were there, because of what he can do as far as his passing and his perimeter defense. Unfortunately, we don't have him. He's out for the rest of the season. It all depends on DeMar DeRozan and Vucevic. So I'll give Chicago the slight edge for now.
Right.
Really? Okay.
For now. Just for now.
Yeah. Okay, so that would make Atlanta have to play Chicago for that 8 seed.
I kind of would pick Chicago again. I'm not gonna lie. I pick Chicago again.
Chill. Where are you going in the game? Where are you going with that, Chill? Atlanta or Chicago?
First of all, I got Toronto beating Chicago.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
I got Toronto. The way the playoffs is the way that it's set right now. I think the top 8 teams are the teams that are going to be in the playoffs. I think Miami got that 7 seed, and I think Toronto's going to end up with the 8 seed.
Is Toronto the 8 seed right now, or is it?
No, they're the 9. They're the 9 seed. Okay. Yeah, they're the 9 seed. Chicago the 10 seed.
Yeah, I'm fellas. I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around Chicago beating Toronto as well. I don't see it.
I mean, what's your logic with Chicago over Toronto?
With Chicago over Toronto, maybe it's a little bit of recency bias because they've been playing so well as of late. I think before the All-Star break, they were looking rough. They probably maybe weren't even going to make the play-in at that time, but they've been playing very well. Zach LaVine has been like kind of on a tear. Like he's been averaging like damn near 30 points a game since the All-Star break. Alex Caruso has been fantastic. Even Vooch has come in and had really good games. And with the Raptors, it's just a lot of up and down. Like they've been solid, but they've never shown like a spurt of them being really good. With the Bulls, I've seen spurts of them being really good, and they've come of late. So even though it's in Toronto, even though the Raptors are a tough out, I still like Chicago. I think they have the momentum, and they've shown more like really, really good performances as of late, in my opinion.
Well, just for the sake of time and moving on, let's just assume that Miami is the 7 and Toronto is the 8. And let's go to that 1 versus 8 matchup. Let's say Toronto, Milwaukee.
I think
we're all on the same page.
Smokes them in 5 games. Tops.
I agree.
Really, honestly, I don't think the AC too much matters. I don't think we even need to keep even.
Oh yeah, 100%.
We all know what's going on in that first round. Yeah. So let's move on. So we got Milwaukee moving on to the second round. In the 2 versus 7, we have Miami and Boston. Chill, you broke that down a little bit before.
I think Boston beats them, but it's in a dogfight. And the reason why I feel like they beat them is because what Boston is gonna do is Boston is gonna turn this into a long ball shooting, transition game and the weapons that they have offensively, they're not going to be able to have us. They're not going to be able to slow the game down like Miami wants to do. Miami is at the bottom of the league in pace and point production. They're at the bottom of the league, and they want to play slow. They're not going to be able to do that against the Boston Celtics simply because what the Boston Celtics have offensively. The Boston is going to continue to push the pace. And like I said, guys like Max Strus and guys like Tyler Hero, they're going to be the difference. And I just don't think that they have enough. I think Miami handles them, but I'm sorry, I think Boston handles them, but I think it's a dog fight. 6-7 games.
I got Boston in 7. It's going to be tight, nailed to the wire. I think Jimmy Butler is going to have some spectacular games as well. As Chill mentioned, Strus and Tyler Hero, those are going to be the X factors.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to give Boston just in 7.
Nigel?
I'll give Boston the series. I'd say in 6. Okay. I mean, we can look at last year when they faced each other. Obviously, it went 7, and Miami could have easily won. I think Miami offensively is just hasn't been the same. They've had spurts, like obviously the game against Philly, they were fantastic, but overall for the season they haven't really been that good offensively. While Boston's taken strides offensively, they've gotten like Derek White more integrated. He came in mid-season of last year, and then now he's had the full year and he's been really good for them. And then obviously I think the top end with Boston is just better than Miami. But Miami, I mean, you can't count out Jimmy Butler and Bam, which is why it won't be like a sweep or a 5. Yeah, exactly. So it'll be a 6-game series.
Okay, so we got Boston. What do
a different animal?
Definitely, he's a whole different man. He's a beast. I love playoff Jimmy.
Yeah.
Hey, playoff Jimmy is a real thing, isn't it? I was fighting it a while ago, but playoff buckets is a real thing.
When you play in the playoffs, you're like a different person. Like, it's weird to me. James Harden, as great as he is in the regular season, come postseason, he's a no-show. But Jimmy Butler, I mean, not as great in the regular season like James Harden, but come postseason, he just ascends, man. And that's just a different mentality.
Playoff Jimmy is just as real as playoff Rondo.
Yeah, so
that's probably more. Let's go to the 3 versus 6, Philly and Brooklyn.
I think Philly handles them. I do. I think Philly handles them. And I'm on record saying this. I'm on record saying this. Philadelphia, the Lakers are going to go as far as AD takes them. Philadelphia is going to go as far as Embiid takes them.
I think this one right here. Well, I think Miami might be too. I think this is one of the 2 sweeps I see in the first round.
Ooh.
Which is Milwaukee. I think Milwaukee gets a sweep, and I think Philly gets a sweep in this one as well. You should not be surprised at that. I think they serve Brooklyn. I don't think they serve Brooklyn.
No,
I
think they serve them.
We got to bring the brooms out.
Yeah, I think they serve Brooklyn.
I'll give them 1 game at home.
That's what I was gonna say. I'll give them a game, but they'll. I mean, their 4 wins will probably all be blowouts.
I think Mikal Bridges will probably give them at least 1 game. I'm just only gonna give it just 1 game, but that's about it. I wouldn't be surprised by this week.
So I think
in order for that to happen, PS, that means that Mikal Bridges, he has to match what Embiid does, and I can't see him doing that. I just can't. He's gonna have to match what Embiid does to cancel out Embiid's production, and then the rest of those guys are gonna have to step up and be better. And the Brooklyn Nets have a bunch of guys who can keep it close. They don't have that one guy who can push you over the top. I think that's the difference in that series.
That is true.
Yeah, I said that now. It's a blessing that Leaf is traveling right now, because I know he would have popped up like the boogeyman over there right there.
Saying that. 7.
Yeah, so crazy.
Yeah.
So let's get on to the Knicks to the Knicks versus Cavs.
That might be the most compelling series.
I love this series. Series. It's
because Knicks and Cavs, Donovan Mitchell. I give the Cavs, but it would be a very tight one, probably 6 or 7. And I think it's going to all come down to Donovan Mitchell. I think Julius Randle will play much better, given the fact that he's now the number 2, unlike him being the number 1. I think Brunson has been a godsend to the team. I think lately Obi Toppin, Grimes, by the way, Chill, I love the comparison you gave to Grimes to John Starks. In some ways, he does kind of remind me of Starks, though. And Emmanuel Quickly. I think they're going to give you some good games of 30 points or 28 points. But I think Cavs winning by at least 7.
I think the separator in this series, as good as Quigley is, as good as Grimes is, who, again, you've heard me talk about Grimes, as good as Brunson is, I think the difference in this series is going to be on the front line. I think both Mobley and I think Jared Allen, I think they wear those guys down over a 7-game series, and I think that's going to ultimately be that's going to be the separator in that series, because Mobley being the rebounder that he is, the defender that he is, also Jared Allen being the rebounder that he is, the defender that he is. Wade can stretch the defense as a rotation guy, and they have guys who can keep it close. Donovan Mitchell is one of the most dynamic guards in the game. So everything Brunson looking for is going to be right in front of him with Donovan Mitchell. Everything that he wants, he's going to get it from Donovan Mitchell. I think the separator in that series is going to be on that front line, and I think that they wear down the Knicks, and I think that they end up beating them.
So, Chill, we're going with the Cavs in this one.
Yes, I do.
Okay. So right now we're looking at this. We're looking at the second round being Milwaukee and the Cavaliers, and Boston and Philly. Let's go straight into it. Milwaukee and Cleveland.
I like Milwaukee, but
Milwaukee in 6.
Yeah, I agree. I would say in 6. I like what you just said, Chill, about the Cavs front line. It's been really, really good this year. I mean, they have the number 1 defense in the league, I'm pretty sure still. So they will. The matchup is just iffy because you've got inside scorers with Giannis. I mean, even with such a good front line, Giannis is probably still gonna destroy that. And Mobley's not like Mobley. I love Mobley. He's an excellent player, but I don't know if he has enough size to necessarily deal with that.
To deal
the
with
same
Giannis,
thing with Jared Allen.
I don't think Mobley compared to like Giannis is like. I mean, Mobley is a slim dude, so Giannis is going to give him some problems there.
Well, we're talking about a second-year guy in Evan Mobley, who I personally think is the defensive player of the year. I think he is that good. However, I had, before the season started, and PSP Sports, he and I had a conversation about this before the season started. I thought that Cleveland was a semifinals team simply because of how young they are. I mean, Donovan Mitchell is the youngest. He's the oldest guy in their rotation of their starting 5. You're talking about Jared Allen, who's 24 years old, Okoro, who's 22, 23 years old, Evan Mobley, who's 22 years old, Darius Garland, who's 21 years old. So they got a bunch of kids, and I still think that they're a year away from really challenging in the Eastern Conference. So to run up on this Milwaukee team with the rotation that Milwaukee has, not just with the rotation that Milwaukee has, with the players that they not just the rotation in terms of their 6, 7, 8, 9 guys. I'm talking about with their starting 5, how they move the basketball, how they defend, and that playoff experience cannot be denied. Because that playoff experience is there, and these kids are as young as they are, I think that's going to be the separator in this series. I think they handle the Cavs in 5, 6 games tops.
But they need to get some wings.
But to Fluent's point, though, the good thing about it with the Cavs, although they're young and inexperienced, no expectations, no pressure. So maybe that could benefit. Maybe that could help. Only thing I disagree with you, Chill, I actually have Jaren Jackson from the Grizzlies winning Defensive Player of the Year. But I could, with Evan Mobley, that's a great choice still.
Yeah.
Right. So what are we looking at with Boston Philly in the second round? How does
I know you're a Philly guy, but I only got one thing to say about this. In the words of Joel Embiid, this isn't a rivalry. They kick our ass every time we play them. They kick our ass every time we play them. So
you got Boston too?
Yes, I got Boston in 6 games.
Okay,
I do.
Son, what about you, PSP?
I got Boston in 6. It comes down to not only Joel Embiid, Doc Rivers with adjustments, and then James Harden. At some point in time, he's going to have to deliver.
Well, that's why. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Okay. I, as much as I want my team to win, I would go with Boston in 6 as well. They're they're my championship pick. Honestly, I think they're the best team in the league. I think they're going to learn from last year losing to Golden State. I think they're going to use that to their advantage. We just don't match up well with them. They have too many bigs. They have mobile bigs. They have bigs that can play drop. Like they have perimeter defenders everywhere. Tatum, Derek White, Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown. Like they could throw anybody at James Harden, anybody at Tyrese, really anybody at Joel Embiid. I know Joel Embiid killed him on Tuesday, but in a playoff series,
Robert Williams. Imagine with Robert Williams back going
and Jaylen Brown.
And Jaylen Brown, exactly. So I I really don't see a world where we beat them.
And
I would go Boston.
And they go deeper in their rotation too. They got 9, they got 10 guys, 10 legit guys. I mean, that matters. A lot of people don't really factor in when you're making a championship run. That's why the Warriors were as good as they were, right? That's why the Cavs were as good as they were. That's even though they had LeBron James, even though Golden State had Steph, Clay, and Dre. Steve Kerr went 10, 11 deep, right? So when you got a rotation like that, same thing with the Toronto Raptors. They had 9, 10 guys that Nick Nurse went to. When you go that deep into your bench with quality guys and not just guys to fill minutes, not just fill minutes. These guys are filling minutes. These guys are filling minutes and giving you legit production. When you go that deep into your bench, that matters. Add that to the fact that Doc Rivers, when we get into the meat and potatoes of the game, he had, because again, I want to make sure that we're clear. I can only X and O you for a certain point. At some point, you have to make plays. Now, the fact that I'm watching you guys play against Philadelphia, I'm watching Philadelphia play Boston the other night, and we have mental mistakes like James Harden not blocking out on free throws, which is something simple.
Yeah.
James Harden not blocking out on free throws, or Joel Embiid fouling to get the ball in bounds. Like, that's stuff that matters in the meat and potatoes of the game. So when you do stuff like that, which I've seen from Philadelphia, these sort of blunders, I think that's a huge problem moving forward. And I think that's the separator between the Boston Celtics and the Philadelphia 76ers.
So the next round, Boston, Milwaukee. How's the Eastern Conference Finals going?
I like Boston. And the X factor is Milton, if he can stay healthy. If Milton stays healthy and can give me adequate performance, I got the Bucks in 7. I think that Robert Williams could make it challenging, make it interesting on Giannis in the post, but I would give the Bucks a slight edge to 7. And of course, the other X factor from Milwaukee, Drew Holiday, because of his defense.
I like Boston, and I get the Chris Middleton thing. Everyone says like if Chris Middleton played last year, things might have been different. I just think Boston is better than they were last year. I think they, like I said with the Philly series, I think they have a lot of guys they can throw at Milwaukee's best players. Giannis, as much as he scored last series, like when they played last year, the efficiency was down. The efficiency was really down. And some of that had to do with Chris Middleton not being in the lineup. But even when Chris Middleton's been there, it's been a mixed bag throughout this season, right? So I like Boston. I'd probably go. I'll say Boston in 6. I'll say Boston in 6,
which is fair. But
you going the same way too?
I've said this in the past. If you look at these two teams in terms of their matchups, right? So everything you have, I have. So your rotation players with White, Mazul, the kid from Oklahoma City, I keep getting his name wrong. The long ball shooter, Muscala. I was about to call him Muscala. Him. So Derek White, Grant Williams. So your rotation guys. We got rotation guys in Milwaukee with Jay Crowder, with Bobby Portis. So we got the same rotation guys that you have. So when you're talking about our starting 5, so our starting 5 with Holiday matching up with Marcus Smart, right? Not only Holiday matching up with Marcus Smart, Middleton, Brook Lopez against Robert Williams. We have everything that you have. The difference in this series is going to be my best player is better than your best player, and I think that's why Milwaukee wins, because I think it's going to come down to Jason Tatum having to outplay Giannis. And I don't think he's going to be able to do it.
Okay. PSP?
No, I got Milwaukee winning in 7. I think Giannis is going to have the series, have a heck of a series. I think Jason Tatum's going to put up good performances, and there's going to be some times that Jaylen Brown, I actually like him in crucial situations more than Jason Tatum. That's just me, but I think it's not going to be enough to beat Milwaukee.
And anybody who knows me knows that I'm a Jason Tatum guy. Anybody who's ever listened to me knows I love Jason Tatum. I'm a huge Jason Tatum fan. I think Giannis is the best player in the league, and I think that's
he goes for too many threes. That's his problem, Jason Tatum.
And somebody had brought this to my attention where like Jason Tatum is now turning into James Harden, where it's just either at the long ball line or it's at the rim. And I'm watching him. It was a Christmas game where I'm watching him against Drew Holiday, where he had Drew Holiday in the pinch post and he had him in the mid range, and he had cracked a couple of jump shots over him. And I'm thinking to myself, if you can put that in your game on a consistent basis, we're looking at a top 3 player for the next 5 to 8 years.
It's funny
he
because
actually has a case to be the best player. I mean, because offensively he could do it all. My problem with him, he sells for too many threes. Just get back to doing what you do in the mid-range game. That's his bread and butter. And defensively, he's gotten better since the time he was drafted.
Yes, he is.
I think I think it's interesting because like early in his career, like 2018, 2019, it was kind of the opposite was his problem. He took like too many mid-range shots. That's what people were like getting on him about. He wasn't taking enough threes. He wasn't getting enough to the rim. And now, like, to see it kind of switch to be the exact opposite is a little interesting. I think he needs to sort of find the balance between those two extremes, I guess.
My thing is play to strength. Play to what you do best. I mean, the reason why, like, I give a lot of credit to Giannis. Giannis knows he's not the greatest shooter in the world, but hey, he posts up. He knows double pressure. He's going to kick it out to dudes, high percentage shots, as Shaq always says. So I just say play to your strength. Don't worry about the analytics part. Just play to your strength, go with that, and eventually you'll win.
Right. Don't worry about the analytics. L basketball. But PSP, Nigel, I appreciate y'all helping us walk through the East.
All right, brother.
Anytime, y'all.
Good to talking to you.
Absolutely, brother. Y'all stay tapped in.
All right, y'all.
All right, Chill. So we worked it down to Golden State versus Milwaukee in the finals. I'm gonna leave this one all up to you. How do you see this going?
The same way I see Milwaukee, in Boston, and I think that Milwaukee handles Golden State because I think that they don't have an answer, not just for Giannis, the rest of their guys. I mean, I think they got better rotation guys. Coaching could definitely be an issue in this series because Steve Kerr does a really good job at rotations, not just at rotations, but he also does a really good job in adjusting. So if the game is fast, Steve Kerr may slow the game down a little bit. He'll continue to put his team in positions to score, where instead of getting quick shots, he'll make this other team defend for a little while longer to move the basketball and get guys open and put the pressure on Milwaukee's defense. However, I think Milwaukee defensively, I think that they could handle that. And in the process of them handling that, I think that they could speed the game up or slow the game down whenever they want. And I think that they ultimately just handle Golden State if Golden State would end up in the finals. I think 5 games.
5. Oh, okay.
I think they smoke Golden State. Anybody that's coming out the West, I think they smoke them.
Yeah, I can see that too. So you know what? Let me get these guys up here real quick. Let's say what's up to these guys. Let's see
what's up. What's up? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Dev. We don't got too much time, Dev. Hey, KB, are you there?
Yeah.
Yep, I'm here.
Okay, yeah, fellas. We don't got too much time, but I didn't want to miss y'all, so pulled y'all up. Just if y'all got anything for Chill, y'all got something.
What's up, brother? What's going on?
Talk about it.
So real quick, I just want to address the Hawks play-in. I completely disagree with you guys when they said they missed the play-in because I feel like they beat the Raptors because they're 2-1 in the season series, and I've seen Trae Young play up big in a play-in game last year, like when he handled the Cavs. Because I agree with I do think they can lose to Miami, but I feel like it would be hard fought because it was just the addition to Dejounte Murray. I feel like that cut down the turnovers, and I do like how the Hawks been playing. Sadiq Bey, our wings have been playing a lot more. But I do think they still lose to Miami. But
just so you know, real quick, just so you know, with the addition of Dejounte Murray, Trae Young, not only does he average 5 turnovers, he had a 10 turnover game against Miami with Dejounte Murray in the lineup. 10 turnovers in the game.
Yeah, true. I can't fault that. I'm an ATL guy, so I'm trying to be,
of course, I can get with that.
I still got Miami beating them because I feel like Miami's gonna be a tough out, and yeah, I just agree with all your. I do agree with the but even if Atlanta gets in, we're getting smoked in 4 games by Milwaukee, so it don't even matter. So that's it.
It'd be great to go watch them in the playoffs. They're gonna smoke us though, but it'd be great to go.
Hey,
watch
that's it. I just want to see you make it, and I do agree. And my final question is Mavericks. How are you feeling about the Mavericks? Are you like surprised like they started off so good and they like what if GM ChillTown? I want GM ChillTown going forward. What's your plans?
Well, going forward, the plan is to bolster our defense. That was the problem. The Dallas Mavericks, before they got Kyrie Irving, they were a top 5 defense. They fell into the bottom 20 once they got off of both Finney-Smith and Spencer Dinwiddie. So the idea is to bring back Kyrie Irving, not at a reduced rate, no, just at a reduced year. So we're not going 4 or 5 years. I'm going 3 years with an opt after 3, and I'm going to bolster our defense because that's going to be the difference. We clearly have the formula in terms of scoring with both Kyrie Irving and Luka. We do have that, and we also got to get a better front line too because I don't think Powell is a starting center on the playoff.
Yeah,
team.
Christian Wood defense not moving.
Yeah, we have to bolster our front line. Not only do we have to bolster our front line, we got to bolster our perimeter defense. That's going to be the difference with the Dallas Mavericks.
And big outside before I go, y'all Kings, y'all getting out the first round. Listen, y'all getting out the first round, people down y'all, and whoever y'all 3 seeds, so y'all either gotta play. Who's at the 2 seed? Memphis.
They're gonna have to play.
Y'all going to the Western Conference Finals. I'm gonna say the Sacramento Kings will be back in the Western Conference Final for the first time since 2002.
Big Ox been talking that since October, November. Big Ox been talking about they in the West Finals, so this ain't news.
That's my hot take. That's
my
hot take
this ain't news. Big Ox been talking about the Kings in the West Finals since November.
But yeah, I really appreciate you, Big Ox.
All right, brother.
I'm gonna catch y'all later.
Yes,
all
sir.
right, KB, what's up, fam?
Hey, man, how y'all doing?
What's up, brother?
Yeah, I just got 2 questions, then I gotta head out. I gotta go somewhere. But my first question is relating to the playoffs. The 4-5 matchup in the East with the New York Knicks and the Cleveland Cavaliers. Do you see a scenario where New York can potentially upset Cleveland?
I just think Cleveland's I think that front line is just gonna wear them down. I think that's gonna be the difference in the series. I like the Knicks front. I like the Knicks front court with Grimes and Quigley coming off the bench and Brunson. I just think that the difference is going to be that. I think that the difference is going to be Cleveland's front court. I think they ultimately wear down the New York Knicks as a whole.
Yeah, I definitely think so too. I agree with you there. But how long do you see the series going? Do you think 6 games?
6 games. I think it's a dogfight. No doubt about that. I think it's a dogfight. No doubt.
All right, perfect. And then the second question I have is related to the Toronto Raptors. The Raptors, from an outside looking in perspective, they have the talent and they have the coaching. Nick Nurse is one of the best coaches in the league. OG Anunoby is a Defensive Player of the Year candidate. Pascal Siakam, Scotty Barnes, Van Fleet's been having a terrible year so far. But just from the outside looking in, they have a great team, but they're the 9th seed in the Eastern Conference. So going forward, what would you think that they would need to do in order to get back into the upper echelon of Eastern Conference teams?
I think that they have to bolster that front. I think they have to bolster that backcourt, particularly the lead guard spot. I don't think Van Fleet is it. I don't. I think that you need an upgrade at the point guard spot. I think that's the difference. And I also think that they need to get bigger on their front line. You need a legit 5-man that you don't have. You need a legit 5-man. And the fact that they play as small as they play, it works in stretches. But when you run up on teams, particularly in the Eastern Conference, like Embiid, like Giannis, where they're just going to beat you up, the Cavs who I just mentioned, with a bigger front line, that ultimately is your demise. So I think that they need to upgrade at the point guard spot and they need to get bigger in their front court.
Perfect. Thanks for answering my question.
All right, brother. Good to talk to you. Yes, sir. Good to talk to you.
All right, KB. Thanks for stopping by, fam.
Podcast.
Appreciate that. Okay, ChillTown. We just got a couple super chats to get through real quick.
Yes, sir.
I did have this one, which wasn't a super chat, but I just want to shout out YSN Money, for loving the King so much and we
love you too, brother. YS Money, we love you, brother.
For allowing the Kings to live rent free in his brain, we love you for that.
Appreciate in the most expensive space too, by the way. That they ain't just living rent free up there, Big Ox. The most expensive apartment up there.
Yeah,
they acquiring the most expensive space up there. No dough. You living up here for free.
Definitely in the penthouse. Definitely in the penthouse. Let me see who we got here. FIFA Boy. Chillin' Bob on Saturday is a vibe. Love the content.
This was Biz's idea because Big Ox was the one who said, yo, we should go one more time during the week. And I was like, you want to? He's like, yeah, let's do it. So here we are. We in the house.
Yeah, we appreciate y'all for stopping by. Y'all keep
Word.
it up.
Yeah,
we'll be here. We'll be here as long as y'all love it. We already did that one. Okay, I like this one from Tony Grotsky. Swap Clay with Peja. Does Warriors dynasty exist?
No. And as much as I dig Peja, I've seen Peja go the other way in the playoffs. Clay, on the other hand, his ability to move, I think Clay is a better shooter than Peja. That doesn't mean that Peja is not an awesome. I think you can make an argument Peja is a top 10 shooter all time. You can make that. I think you can make that argument. But I think that Clay fits so much better with that Warriors team than what Pager would.
Right.
Particularly I'm not just thinking about it as a shooter, but I'm also thinking about it as a defender. There was a time when there was a conversation about Clay being an all-league defender. That was going on.
Yeah. Clay was a hell of a defender coming out the gate.
Yeah.
Clay's just an all-around dog. I got love for Clay.
Yeah.
I'm happy Clay's as good as he is in the NBA, because I think I told you about how he came and put a whooping on us in the state championship. So it's good to know that it was an all-time great that did that to us.
Yeah.
Rod came through, and Cavs spanking the Knicks in 5. Knicks have no advantage over the Cavs.
I don't know if I agree with having no advantage. I mean, they got a really good rotation guard. The Cavs don't have anybody coming off their bench as good as Quigley. Nobody. And they've got some good players. They got some good rotation, but they don't have anybody coming off their bench as good as Quigley. So that's not true. That's not true at all. I think that front line for Cleveland is what ultimately wears down the New York Knicks.
It's all laughs came through. Apparently, it's being reported that Luka may request a trade next summer if the team doesn't improve. If he does, where would be his best fit?
Well, when I think about Luka playing, I think Luka's a Western Conference guy. There's guys that we've seen over the years that are Eastern Conference guys or Western Conference guys. I think Luka is a Western Conference guy, and I want to put Luka on a team where they're right there, they're not far. And to be honest with you, I like Luka in Oklahoma City. You could get Chet healthy. If you could get Chet healthy, and you could hold on to SGA and whatever else, Oklahoma City, whatever else you want, and to get Luka in Oklahoma City with SGA and get Chet healthy, I like that unit.
Yeah,
I do.
I posted something about that earlier. My boy, he said that he sees Luka wanting to go to Miami, and I was just like, I don't see how that works. I don't see Pat Riley and Luka meshing at all.
No.
I don't see Pat Riley dealing with the crybaby antics. I just don't see them meshing together at all.
Well, to expand on your point, Big Ox, number one, you got to take care of your body. If you play for the Miami Heat, you have to take care of your body. So that's going to be a part of it. And I don't think that that's something that Luka has been doing throughout the course of his career. Not only is it not something that he's been doing, I'm not sure that that's something that he wants to do. I think Luka is one of those guys who just wants to be a baller, and he wants to roll at the beat of his own drum. So I like him on a younger team like Oklahoma City. If they could pair him with Chet and not be able to hold on to SGA, yeah, I love Luka in Oklahoma City.
Angie Carr, we always appreciated Angie. She taps in. W show and host. Light the beam/belt. I don't know if y'all was all here for that, but that was a good time. That was a good time. Well, ChillTown, we've come to the end of another great show. Our first Saturday episode. Thank y'all, everybody in the chat. Thanks everybody that came through. Y'all make sure y'all like this video on the way out. Also, let me make sure to shout out our GOAT member, Comatose. If you want to be a GOAT member, it's only a click away. Y'all take care of that. We'll see y'all. We'll see y'all Wednesday at 5 Eastern. But we'll see you Monday even before that on the panel. So y'all make sure y'all stay tuned in. Appreciate y'all. See you next time, Big Chill.
Take it light, but take it.